1 week from tonight, round one of the NFL draft. And I'll tell you, the goose pimples start to go on the little hairs on the back of your neck start to stand up a little bit, because I'm telling you, this football team was so close. And I know they lost to Washington last year and didn't win a playoff game, but a 15-win regular season. Braylon, this football team was so close to competing for and winning a Super Bowl. And now that you see the way Brad Holmes is going to do it, just big picture, he is going to build through the draft. He is going to continue through the draft. Whoever they draft next Thursday night, this could be pretty exciting to think about this. This could be the person that is the final piece to a Super Bowl championship puzzle, could potentially have that aura. And Brad Holmes did speak with the media today, and we're going to play some of those clips in just a second. But Braylon, just your big picture take on where you see this football team a week out ahead of the NFL draft.
I think they're in good position. I think they're in good space. I think early on in this offseason and got to thinking about, hey, look, we got to get Myles Garrett, or we got to get a guy on the other side. The defensive line and Aleem McNeil coming back from injury, Davenport, DJ Reader, Aiden Hutchinson. You think about how that season ended. It's like you got to get a defensive presence. Moving off from that, I see what Brad Holmes is doing. We're getting into the time of year where he has the most success is the draft. It's free agency. So I'm excited. I'm excited because he tends to go get the players that they have pegged. And their players that they peg, they're usually not on the radar of other people. They go after their guys. The RAS score, I know, is very big for them. So
injuries.
True. Very true, Maz. But I feel confident because that team was a damn good team last year, 15-2 with 24 injuries on the defensive side of the ball. So you look at it that way, and you look at the confidence and the patience. I mean, look at a lot of the coaches at the coaches' meetings, sweating, on the hot seat, not showing up. There's none of that going on in Detroit. Brad Holmes is calm, very confident. We'll hear from him. And then Dan Campbell. He's not taking the hat off and rubbing his hair. Everybody seems to be comfortable, confident. And this is where Brad Holmes wins, and he's shown us that for 4 years.
History is usually a good predictor of the future as well. And I'm going to play Brad Holmes for you, talking about moving up or down in the draft, because this is a guy and a staff, really, that identifies a player and usually goes to get said player. He is willing to do whatever it takes to go get the player he identifies could help this team. He moved up from pick 32 to pick 12, a huge jump to get Jamison Williams. He moved up last year a couple of spots. He identified Terrion Arnold as that guy that he wanted at cornerback. He moved up to get him. Here's Brad Holmes.
And Giovanni Manu.
Here's Brad Holmes on talking about moving up or even down in the NFL draft next week.
Just depends, who might be in striking range, who might, So it could be moving back. It could just be, just staying patient. It could be, didn't think that this guy, didn't go up. So, you be prepared for everything. So you go through all those scenarios, and then you just kind of got to be ready for anything. But it's just, you said, you're always trying to figure out what we're going to do. I don't, when, a movie comes out, right? I don't understand. When you go to see a movie, you don't know what you've never seen the movie. That's the excitement. And so you're fine just watching the movie. And then it's whether the movie's good or bad, and then you can do that. But I don't understand why people can't just watch the draft. And it's all right, I don't know what's going to happen, but watch the draft and get your popcorn ready and enjoy it. You know what I mean?
So earlier today, I was at Fox 2, and I read the quote. When you read the quote, get your popcorn ready, sit back, and relax. That is a much different read than when you hear Brad Holmes say that in that context. Yeah. Context is everything.
It is. You thought when you read it, oh, my God, we're going to move up. We're going to smash it. Right. We're going to get Abdul Carter. Yeah. But when you sit back, you kind of know we're not going to do anything.
Right. He said it's going to be like a
But here's why I want to come to Braylon. Because, Braylon, you talked about this guy yesterday. And it just speaks to this was a 25-minute press conference. I listened to all 25 minutes of it. And it was some great questions. as far as beat writers go, Lions beat writers are I think
terrific.
collectively the best group of reporters that cover a team. They're great reporters. But Braylon talked about this yesterday, and it's one player, and I'll let him tell you who that is. But just the idea of Brad Holmes is going to do what's best for this organization. He said, and you'll hear him say this when I play this for you in a couple of minutes, but he's like, okay, everybody wants us to take a defensive end, okay? Fine. But what if that defensive end can't play? But I got a defensive end. Oh, you're looking for a 6'4", 250-pound tight end. Okay, I could take one of those, but can he play? He is going to do the best. He is going to make the best possible pick, not only player-wise, but how the fit is. It's a puzzle piece to put guys on an NFL team and make that puzzle piece fit to perfection. Braylon, you mentioned a guy yesterday.
I did, yes. Yesterday we had the whole mock. It was fun. It was AI and Braylon, and it was laugh because Shedeur Sanders to the Falcons, Quinn Ewers to the Minnesota Vikings. But the underlying message from yesterday is the same. Jalon Walker is the player that I think I want. Let me throw some names out there for you. Trayvon Walker. You know that name?
Yes.
You know that name? Okay. He's okay, right? 24 sacks in 3 years in the NFL. Nolan Smith. You know that name?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Jalen Carter. Oh, I know we know that name. I
heard of him.
Yeah, I know we know that name. Number 6 overall, but he's neither here nor there. N'Kobe Dean. Jordan Davis. Does that name ring a bell?
They're all Eagles.
Azeez Ojulari. Does that name ring a bell? These are all defensive linemen that have played at Georgia in the last 4 years. All I can go down a list of other players that played on the offensive side, Brock Bowers, but I don't need to do that. You know what the formula is. It works at Georgia, just like you trust Nick Saban. The players, how many Alabama players do we have? Because you trusted the format. Yeah. It's the same thing with Kirby Smart. The Georgia players have success. You want to rush in, he's the guy. Jalon Walker, shorter guy, I told you what it was yesterday. He's 6'2", he's 250, 252. Dynamic hands, dynamic arms, long arms. The things that he can do on the opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson will help. He is a guy that is just going to get the quarterback. That's all you need. You don't need another Aiden Hutchinson because you have Aiden Hutchinson. You want a guy that can rush the edge, and I think this is the player for you. Sometimes you got to pay attention to what works. The Georgia defensive line, the Georgia defensive players, with the exception of maybe Keely Ringo, who we're still trying to see what he has, they work. This is a formula and a format that work. Whatever it is with Georgia, and while we won't draft the Georgia players, maybe it's DeAndre Swift and it didn't work out here in Detroit. But the Georgia defensive line, as currently constructed, Trey Smith is a wizard down there in Athens, Georgia. You've seen it time and time again. I think Trayvon Walker is much better than he's shown. He's just in the wrong defensive scheme, I think, Spinny. So Jalon Walker will be the move. I told you how you can get up there to get him at 15. The trade details, I don't need to read those again.
But Braylon, even the trade details outside, that they have shown that they'll move from 32 to 12. It almost feels like it doesn't matter. If they have that player that they want to go get, Brad Holmes will go get him.
100%. And look, I just think that he's a player. I think he's perfect for this team. He's physical. You watch him on film. He moves around like Micah Parsons. Like, he puts left tackles in a bind. This is definitely the type of energy you need. He's aggressive. He reminds me of Brian Branch, how the way he plays with a reckless abandonment. But at the same time, he's skilled. He's laid back. So I think this could be a very good pick for him. We need an edge rusher. I did some homework on this one. This wasn't just let me throw that out there. Ryan had, whose mock draft did you have here? Field Yates.
Field Yates and Mel Kiper.
Field Yates has him at 8. I didn't even know that when I brought the conversation in yesterday. So this is just watching some film. This is going back watching the Alabama game. This is going back 2 years ago watching some other games. So I like this guy, and I think he's a good fit.
The question is, can they get up to get him? And he's not going to last till 28. And you don't listen, guys.
But there was a trade yesterday.
Yes, I know. But Brad Holmes, he could say what he wants, but he can't sign all the great players that he has drafted in the last 3 years. We can't keep them all. We can't. You still have to pay Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta, Jack Campbell, and Jahmyr Gibbs. You have to pay all those guys. It's almost impossible. So, in this draft, he's going to be looking for players to possibly take over for one or two of those guys. So I wouldn't be shocked if he took a safety, knowing he can't sign both Branch and Kirby Joseph. I want a defensive end. I'm one of those guys in that room that told him, we're the guys that sit here and we complain. We're the GMs. We know more than you, Brad. At least that's what we think. We want more. To get this guy, Bray, if you're on it, I'm on it as well.
Can I just say,
stick with Georgia and Alabama. Stick with them.
Can I? In imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery. Steven in the chat. Stephen David, great observation today. Brad is so annoyed with the internet GMs trying to force him to draft for need, and that was the general theme in the 25 minutes of this press conference today.
He's pissed.
Brad Holmes was very. I don't want to. He wasn't annoyed. It was more he was fed
up.
He wasn't fed up. It was playful. It was like comical. That's the word I'm looking for. It was comical what his approach was. He's like, how many different ways are you guys going to ask me if we're going to take a defensive end in this draft? He is going to take the best player. And just a point about player from Georgia. His name escaped me.
Jalen Walker.
Jalen Walker.
Jalen Walker,
Yeah. So, and here's where people will come at us for it. Maybe it's not Jalen Walker. Maybe it's somebody else.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Mike Green. Okay?
Shamar Stewart.
Maybe it's Shamar Stewart.
Yeah.
The idea is the same. The formula is the same. Identify a player, and again, maybe the player himself is wrong, but you've identified a player, be it Green, be it Walker, be it Stewart, be it whoever, and that's the formula you take to go get them. And it's kind of like 2 years ago in the draft when one of the things that I was basing my whole draft opinion on was do what you do good and make it great. Make your great offense even greater. Draft Bijan Robinson. And so my method was great. My method was right. I just got the wrong player.
Yeah.
So however Brad Holmes identifies the player, I think, Braylon, what I'm trying to say is your method to get there is absolutely spot on.
Yeah, I just don't understand why people have a problem with people doing the show. Like, at the end of the day, what I saw as a former NFL football player with my own two eyes is that the defensive line, they got a bunch of hurries, but they didn't get sacks. They didn't get the quarterbacks on the ground. And then all four of them, by the way, are hurt. Like, they're hurt. The fastest way for the Detroit Lions is to get another guy on the other side. That's just my opinion. I'm not trying to do Brad Holmes' job. He's done a phenomenal job at doing his job. You see that by 15-2. They won NFC. The year before that, and we get all that. But what I saw during the season, and what I also saw is, regardless of injuries or not, they lost at home in the playoff game to the Commanders. So it would behoove me not to come up here and try to come up with a formula for a player that I want and think I need. I think the defensive end is the position of need, and I think it's the one that I want them to address because they've shown me in the past that they've traded up 3 times, by the way. Then now I put the trade in there, and I saw a way to trade up, and that's what I came up with. I apologize if he got offended, but I don't know why he's so angry. He's done a phenomenal job. Everybody loves him, and he'll hit again in a couple of days. I don't know why everybody's so mad, including him.
Well, he's just looking at us like we don't know what we're talking about. He's the boss.
Why is he giving it so much? Why is he giving it so much attention? Is what I'm saying.
He's kind of laughing it off, I guess. But nonetheless, of those guys I just told you about, the guys that the Lions have drafted, out of those 6 players that I threw out there to you, and I could do it again if you need me to, who can they live without? Jahmyr Gibbs?
I don't think they can live without Gibbs.
They can't.
I think they can live without J-Mo.
Me too. Jameson, Jack Campbell, we don't know yet because
No,
still got
they
time.
cannot live without Jack
Right,
Campbell.
still got time. Kirby?
I'll put Laporta and J-Mo
Yeah.
in there.
You don't think they're going to pay?
Yeah,
I don't think they'll
you're
pay
right.
Laporta when his time comes up.
Yeah.
I think they'll do to him what they did with Hawkinson. I think
Perhaps.
they'll go out and get another freaking tight end.
Perhaps they could. And you know, it's interesting.
Brian Branch? I'm not letting him go.
I wouldn't let Joseph or Branch go personally.
Wow.
I
I
agree.
I don't think you can have a Legion of Boom for the next 10 years, essentially, back there.
Wow.
You pair Hutchinson. Just think about this defense for a minute, okay? If you have Hutchinson, Campbell in the 2 safeties, you can do whatever you want defensively at that point. Every level you are elite. You have an elite player at every level of your defense, on the line, in the middle, and the secondary. You have elite players there. Now, just going back to something you said about not being able to pay everybody. I thought Burkett asked a tremendous question today, and it's one I didn't even consider. So I want to give him credit. And the idea was, because you have all of these guys that you probably cannot pay, you are going to have some attrition with maybe one of the 6 Pro Bowlers that you've drafted over the last 4 years. Does that impact your ability to trade up in this draft? Because I think what he was trying to say was, and Brad Holmes understood the question, are you going to give up 2 or 3 draft picks, which could equate to 2 to 3 good players that you will have to fill and replace for one guy to go for it 1 year? It was an interesting, I guess, it was a big picture look at really a team and how they're being built. Because you're not just building a team for 1 year. You do have to look down the road, and can you afford to give up 2 or 3 draft picks, which could be, again, 2 or 3 really good players that could play for you on cheap contracts and replace.
You could say that, Rye, but I'm going to ask you the question that you put out to everyone. Would you give up X amount to win 1 Super Bowl?
I would.
So would I.
I would. Too.
I would.
So would I.
I'm not sure they would, though. That's the disconnect, Braylon. I think that is the answer that a lot of us are trying to figure out about this organization. And to be honest with you, I don't know the answer, and I can't even speculate on the answer. It does not feel like they are willing to mortgage any type of future to go for it for 1 year. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You know, I mean, I'd like a Super Bowl. I just don't know if you can have your cake and eat it too. I don't know if you can draft, win a Super Bowl, and be good for the next 6, 7, 8 years, and then compete for another Super Bowl. Show me the team that can do that without a Hall of Fame quarterback, and I just don't know. I don't believe that.
Well, I think part of it is, look, man, the Holy Trinity works perfect. It's a well-oiled machine. Sorry, guy, I'm not talking about you in this particular one. I'm talking about Sheila, Dan, Brad. It works, correct? I guarantee you, Sheila, who used to be Sheila Ford, has been around forever and seen the team do what? Lose. So finally you have them now in the space where they're winning. I guarantee you her thing is, look, I don't care. We're not mortgaging it all because I want to be good forever. I never want to go back to the days where we were the laughing stock, where we had to put the bags on our head in 2008. So, yeah, there's a lot that we're not going to spend because we know what it's like to be on the other side. I want to go back to the Jameson conversation. It's just such an
I knew you would.
100%. Because I just don't understand, there's so much with him. Like, when he's doing good, oh, yeah, that's our guy. We love him. But when it comes to the money, well, he kind of messes up. I don't know. I wouldn't bring him back. I heard somebody say they would trade J-Mo this year before the season started. Now, I know he's an egghead, but just that type of vitriol I just don't understand. Brad Holmes alluded to the fact that wide receivers are a dime a dozen.
He did.
And he did. And it rubbed me the wrong way. But you know what? It's okay because I got patience.
And he didn't use that language, but
I know what he meant.
That was the insinuation.
So to Brad Holmes and to anybody else out there who wants to get rid of J-Mo, I challenge you. All those defensive players that I named from Georgia, all those players that I named, 3 years ago they were in the same national championship game. And J-Mo would have won that game damn near by himself if he didn't tear his ACL. They were winning that game. J-Mo was the difference maker in that game. 1,549 yards, 19.9 yards a catch, 15 touchdowns. That's why you moved up 20 picks to get J-Mo. And then you've watched him. You've had him. You've been there for him. You supported him. You watched him become a better version of himself. You're watching in real time him be a better version of himself. J-Mo got more playoff touchdowns than Amon-Ra St. Brown, if you want to be honest. Like, every playoff, who shows up? Every time when we tried to come back against the 49ers, 2 touchdowns. Last year, reversed for 60. So just when you say anybody can come in here and be J-Mo, I want you to pause for the cause and really think deep about who he is, where he's coming.
Anytime you do a list.
Well done.
Any
Well
list.
done.
That was great. Braylon, that was tremendous.
Very well said.
Anytime you do a list, though, it feels like where you have to eliminate somebody.
Yes.
I don't care what list it is. On this list, it's a list of 6 players on the Lions that are about to get paid.
No, I forgot to put Hudson in. It's 7.
Yeah.
But again,
Yeah.
which list
Hutch
of
is like,
which list of 6 guys do you not want to pay? Which one? It's like what is it? What is it? Kiss, marry, or kill?
Yeah, right.
Like that.
Way to clean that up,
It's
Ryan.
how do you do it?
Can I ask a question?
And it feels like, yes, you may, but it feels like anytime you have one of those lists, you have to knock somebody down.
Makes me feel dirty.
Yes.
Spence, I want to ask you this question. I want you to answer this.
Okay.
If J-Mo does not have gambling, Brothers Gun, Coney Island at 1:30 in the morning, which I don't know why that was a thing. If he doesn't have that, all he has is the ACL injury. Are we still having this conversation about getting rid of J-Mo?
Yes.
Absolutely. I don't know. Probably because he hasn't done it yet, and you already paid a wide receiver $30 million a year. Jameson Williams, when his contract comes up, he's going to be looking at $35 million a year.
I think
a lot of
Spenny, I think that is a part of it. I think you have to consider that, because if I tell you Gibbs, J-Mo, Branch, Joseph, who are you getting rid of?
Here's my question. How long is Dave Montgomery going to be on the team?
2 more years.
2 more years.
Because if it's just J-Mo, if
2
it's
more
just
years.
Jameer, all right.
Oh, my God.
You see what I'm
You
saying?
are not getting rid of Jameer Gibbs.
I'm just saying, like, if Dave Montgomery's not here, like Jameer,
He's two more years.
David Montgomery ain't Jameer Gibbs.
the value. I'm not. You're missing what I'm saying.
Okay,
the
let him
value of
finish.
Jameer, it goes up because he has Dave Montgomery. But if Jameer Gibbs is just brunting the load, is what I was saying. Like, it's a different thing.
But that's my point, though. If I give you a list of 4, assuming that Laporta's gone too, I'm not even putting Laporta
You don't
in
need
this
Laporta.
list.
You don't need
I'm
Laporta.
not even putting
He
Laporta
didn't
here.
even show up last year.
I'm not putting Laporta or Campbell here, because I think those 2 guys. Well, no, I would even put Campbell in there. Okay, get rid of one guy: Gibbs, J-Mo, Branch, Joseph, Campbell.
J-Mo, because you can pay Montgomery, Gibbs, and Laporta.
Yeah,
That's
you
what
can
I'm
pay
saying.
2 of those guys as much
But
as J-Mo costs.
you didn't have to talk badly about J-Mo to make that point. I mean, it almost feels dirty,
If
you said.
Yeah.
You try
If
to
the
get rid of
Chiefs can move
somebody.
on from Tyreek Hill, nobody's safe at the wide receiver.
There you
Very
go.
true. That's very
I think they knew what they were doing, by the way.
Yeah.
No doubt. Burton, $5. We all brag about wanting knuckleheads because talent is all that matters. Then we get J-Mo, who's a bit of one, and whine about it constantly.
He's so
I don't
good.
think. I mean,
But he's so
none of that extracurricular stuff for J-Mo factors into a reason why, on a list of 5 Lions players, you can keep 4. Who you getting rid of? That's where J-Mo enters this conversation.
Yes, he has a couple of things that you put in the list. But let me ask you one question. Is he a repeat offender in any of one of those things?
No.
No, but I mean, again, all that aside, just football reasons why.
Football.
But
Football.
I do agree with Braylon when he says, like, people that say anybody can do what J-Mo does, you can put in. You can't. There are only maybe 3 people in the NFL that could do what Jameson Williams does.
Facts.
And the only reason the Lions only had to trade up 20 spots to get him was because he tore his ACL.
No
They would
doubt.
have had to trade up 25 spots to get him.